Hey everyone, I am Matt Suess, and today Skylum has released update number 1 for the Luminar Neo early release program that's out there now. If you had already pre-purchased Luminar Neo, if you haven't, I have a link down below, but they released update number 1 today, and the biggest new feature is Luminar Share, and that is a mobile app that you use to then bring photos from the desktop version of Neo to your mobile phone or tablet, and vice versa. You can send photos from the mobile version to the desktop version. How does it work? Are there any bugs in it? What are the details on it? What's going on with this program? Take a look in this video that I just prepared. Now, this video that I did here on Luminar Share actually appears in my Mastering the Digital Darkroom online community and membership program, where I help you master the digital darkroom. If you're interested in signing up on that or getting more information, go ahead and take a look in the link down below. I'll have that there for you. And now let's go take a look at what Luminar Share is. Skylum today released update number 1 for their Luminar Neo Early Access program, and the biggest feature is Luminar Share. In this video, I'm going to tell you all about it, how to use it, what it is, and also what to pay attention to, what's working, what's not working, and a couple other things too. So let's go ahead and take a look at this and go exactly to what is this new update. So this is the very first update of Luminar Neo Early Access, along with bug fixes and performance optimization. The Luminar Share feature is now available, and Luminar Share enables wireless transfer of photos between the desktop Luminar Neo app and the Luminar Share mobile app, and easy sharing of photos to social media. Let's go ahead and take a look at Luminar Neo. If you launch it, what ended up happening was I launched it and I got that update notification right away. If you don't have that, go ahead and let's see where they have that. On the Mac, it's under Luminar Neo, and click on Check for Updates. Now, when you do update this, you're going to have an icon up here in the upper right-hand corner. When you go over here, there's a little connect button, and that's how you're going to connect to the app. But what you first have to do is download the app on your iPhone or your Google phone. So go to the App Store or the Google Store and do a search for Luminar Share and go ahead and download that. Now, let's go ahead and I'm going to switch screens here and show you what happens when you download that app and when you install it. Okay, here we are looking at the app, and they give you some instructions here that you can do to get started. So how to start: run Luminar on the desktop, which we have there. And next you want to do is make sure your mobile device and PC are both connected to the same Wi-Fi network. And in the upper right-hand corner where I just showed you in Luminar Neo, press the share button and then connect. And when you hit connect, it's going to open a QR code. And then you want to scan that QR code to connect to your device. Now, I do want to mention that I had some issues at first connecting my device to the Luminar app, and I've noticed in some of the forums online, a lot of people are having some troubles too. Now, I can't tell you how to fix this on all computers, but I can tell you how I got this working on my M1 Mac Mini. I had my Ethernet cable connected, and I also had my Wi-Fi network enabled, and this app works through the Wi-Fi. And at the very first time, I could not connect at all. It kept on saying on the device, could not connect, make sure you're on the same Wi-Fi network. What I had to do was unplug my Ethernet cable out of my M1 Mini, and then it was just using the one signal, the Wi-Fi signal, and then I was able to connect. Once I was able to get that app connected for the first time, I was able to plug in my Ethernet cable again, and everything's been working good so far. Well, not everything. We'll talk about that in a couple moments here. Let's go back to the app, and we'll do some transferring between the computer and the iPhone. Okay, so first things first, I'll go up into the program and click on connect. It's going to give me an icon, a little QR code. So I'll hit the scan QR code with my phone pointed at my monitor, and it's automatically now connected. At the very bottom, we can see send photos to Luminar Neo, and we can also take a look at our imported images. Let's go ahead and send some photos to Luminar Neo. Click on that button, and it'll open up your camera roll. And I have a collection of photos in here. I'm actually going to go to one of my albums, and I have a test photo section set up here. And if we take a look at this dried out sunflower, this was an actual HEIF formatted photo taken with the iPhone. When you transfer these types of photos over, they do not transfer over as an HEIC or HEIF photo. They end up being converted to a JPEG image. Now that HEIC file format that Apple has, that's to give it a smaller file size. So it has all the same quality as your original file, but instead of a JPEG file, it's an HEIC file, and it's shrunk down in size. Now the HEIC file may also have depth information too if you would use the portrait mode on the iPhone, and programs like Lightroom Classic can access that depth mapping. But by sending this through the app, through the Luminar Share app to Luminar, it does strip all that depth mapping out, and it converts that HEIC to a JPEG image. So I just want to make you aware of that. The other issue is too, and let's see here, I have a RAW file here. This is a RAW file, and if I click and add that, this will not send over Apple RAW files either. We can see that there's no image over here. So you do have to make sure that you're sending an HEIC, knowing that it'll be converted to a JPEG, or just sending over a regular JPEG image. And let me go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and select this photo. You can select up to 10 photos. And let me go ahead and click on Add. We'll just do one. And right away, we're having some trouble. Let's try that again. Let's go in here and click on Add, and there we go. Now you'll notice that this was a vertical photo, and it's changed it to a horizontal photo. So any of your vertical photos are going to be sent as a horizontal. It'll be rotated, so you'll have to rotate that later. If you click on Send to Neo, it does send it pretty quickly, and here is that photo. Again, this was a vertical photo, but it has been rotated to a horizontal. Now that Luminar Share has sent the photos to the desktop version of Luminar Neo, where do those photos go? We can see here that there is a Luminar Share folder now that's inside our catalog. In addition to that, let's go ahead and take a look at our Finder. And inside our Finder, there's a folder now called Luminar Share inside of our Pictures folder. I'm assuming on Windows, this would still be in your Pictures folder. In Windows, you should have a Luminar Share folder. And then there's a dated folder on when those photos were shared. And then here are the photos on your computer. Now, there's a couple other things worth mentioning here besides the rotation of the file. It looks like the app is resaving that JPEG file. So normally what will happen with Apple when you're sending a photo over, especially via the AirDrop, it's just really sending that original file, sending it through the Wi-Fi or AirDrop, Bluetooth, whatever it's doing, and sending it to your computer. It's not really changing the file at all or anything like that. We can see here that the Luminar Share app is obviously changing a vertical photo into a horizontal photo, but it's also resaving that JPEG too. I haven't noticed any quality issues yet with the resaving of the JPEG, but that could possibly be a problem. Usually you do not want to be resaving JPEG photos because eventually that can end up being a file degradation and it's not going to come out. You have some issues with your file. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. Now, I just sent this photo over to my computer. This is through the Apple Share. This is a 2 megabyte file. If we go ahead, let's go ahead and take a look at Luminar Share, and let's go ahead and find that photo. And this is a 1.8 megabyte file. So it's actually done a little bit more compression on that JPEG to lower the file size. Another issue too is that we have now lost all the camera data information in the XF data. So let me go ahead and this is the Luminar Share version of that file. And let's get that over here opened up. And let me go ahead and also open up the one that I did via the AirDrop. Let's go ahead and bring that into Photoshop. And there we go. So if I go under File and File Info, we can see here that I have all the camera data information. This is the AirDropped file. Tells me it was the iPhone 13 Pro Max. Gives me all my exposure settings and all that stuff. It also gives all the GPS data as well. On the Luminar one, the Luminar Share, if we go into File, File Info, we can see that it's stripped out all of that camera data information. Pixel size is still the same, but again, it's resaved as a JPEG, so a little bit more compression on it this time, and we lose all that EXIF data. So just to summarize, when you're sending your photos from your iPhone to the computer, remember you can only send up to 10. If you're sending an HEIC or HEIF file, it will be converted to a JPEG, and the JPEG photos that you send over will be resaved as a JPEG through the transfer process from the Luminar Share app to the computer, and it'll use a little bit more compression and shrink the file size down just a little bit. Pixel dimension's still the same, but the file size is a little bit smaller. And lastly, you can't send over Apple RAW files as of right now. Now, I do want to mention that this is still very early access in the Luminar Neo app. This is the first time they're releasing the Luminar Share app, so there's bound to be some troubles and little things going on here. So I don't know if, the horizontal, changing the vertical to the horizontal is going to be fixed, or, the compression, saving all the files. I don't know what the future holds for that, but just letting you know what's going on right now in this very first release. Let's go ahead and send a photo from Luminar over to our app. And I'm going to select this photo over here, and let me go get my phone and we'll turn that on and we'll send that over. Okay, so I've selected the photo that I want to send over. Go ahead and click on connect again, and I'll go ahead and scan that code. And now that I am connected, I can go up here and click, and it'll have the name of your phone, and I'll go ahead and click on that. And then now it's going to prepare that photo and then send it over to the iPhone. And I've done some processing on this. So I've used a bunch of AI filters and whatnot, and we're seeing how this is processing real time. This is an Olympus RAW file. So it's only a 20 megapixel RAW file. And we can see that's how long that took to come on over here. Now in the app, we can see the two photos that I've sent over from the Luminar Share. Now let's go ahead and send this photo somewhere. So if I go ahead and select that photo, I have a button at the bottom that says share. Click on share, and then you can go ahead and share it to your contacts up above. You can airdrop it. And then this next row here, this is all going to depend on which apps that you have available to you. You can send it to various apps that are installed on your phone. If we scroll down a little bit further, we can copy it. Notice how there is no save to the camera roll though. So you can't save this photo that you just sent over to the camera roll. You can end up saving it to your files though. You can send it to the iCloud files or the files on your phone. You just can't get to the camera roll. So you'd have to save it to the files, and then you'd have to save it to from the files, bring it to your camera roll. Let's go ahead and click on that save to files though, because I want to point out one thing. Okay, here we are inside the files, and I can save it to my iCloud drive or on my iPhone, and it's going to save it as a PNG file. And this is going to end up being with my Olympus camera. This is like a 33 meg file on the other photo that I tested. It's going to send it over as a PNG image. If you click up here on that PNG image, you can finally go in here and change the name of it and type in whatever name that you want on there. Otherwise, it's just going to send it over as PNG image. And again, this on the other photo that I sent over, this was a 33 meg file, PNG file. Now, you can also send it to email, and it's not working with my Spark email. It will work if I send it to my regular, the Apple Mail program. When you do that, and let me go ahead and type in who I want to send this to, and we'll just click on test. And then when I click on the button there in the upper right-hand corner to then send it, I have the option of sending it small, medium, large, or actual size. And when you do send it there, this way through the email, it will send it as a JPEG file. Let's go ahead and see if we can now send this to social media. Now, when I was doing the testing beforehand, I was having some issues. I click on Facebook, and it allows me to choose the newsfeed or the story, but then it disappears right away. So if I go here and then click on newsfeed real fast, it flashes for a second, and then I cannot post this to Facebook. It's not working for me for Instagram either right now. If I click on messages, it actually is working for messages. So again, this is the very first version of this Luminar Share. I was expecting there to be some bugs in it. I kind of was, though, expecting that the Facebook Share and Instagram Share would be working at this time, but evidently not on my iPhone. All right, so that is a quick look at the new Luminar Share app on the iPhone and part of the Luminar Early Access Neo update number 1 that was just released today on January 14th, 2022. What do you think about this feature? Is this something that excites you? Is this something that you are going to be using in your workflow, sending photos back and forth between Luminar Neo on the desktop and the Share app on your phone or tablet so that you can then share that and post it on social media? Let me know if that's something that you're excited about or not in the comments below.